be more than human.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Joseph Carroll. I write under the pen name J.R. Carroll. And today we're rolling back to Cradle. Now we have made our way to the Uncrowned tournament here. And this is one of the most fast-paced books in the Cradle series, at least since I've started. I mean, and most people, depending on what type of books you come from, will say that these are, fast-paced in general. But this just feels like, we're just all gas, no brakes on this one. Uh, so, as you all know, if you've been following my journey through Cradle at this point, these have turned into a reaction video more than just simply review. We're full of spoilers. We're all just here having fun. So if you have been following, subscribe. Why not? I'm going to keep going. You keep coming back. Let's do this. Let's work together. Okay? So, um, you know, we open this with Orthos speaking with Lyndon's sister, and he kind of saved her from the people she was being pursued by, and then she takes him to Lyndon's father, and we still don't know exactly why Orthos is back there. You know, I can't even really give you a good guess of why he would be doing that, unless it's simply, you know, to, be nice to Lyndon or whatever. Um, but we do find out something interesting, and it's got to, it has got to, affect the outcome later. But Orthos is saying that he is losing power. He was like, something about this place is like I should be so much more powerful. And and he says something about how powerful Lyndon is, and his sister was like, oh well, so he made it to copper. And he's like, when I met him, he was already iron. And she's like, what? No, that can't be true. And he was, and he was just laughing and telling her, it's like, oh, how, powerful. He's young, gold, and everything. And she's freaking out. She's like, that can't be right. Um, and then so we get a little bit more backstory of what happened, what's happening with Lyndon's family. Um, and then we kind of just jump, we jump back to Lyndon, right? And so he's over there with the Akura clan, and they test him. They're like, we're testing everybody, because it's not like set in stone yet that he's going to be picked, right? So they're having everybody kind of train up, and one of the things is they test their power levels, and among some other things, and the lady kind of like freaks out when she tests Lyndon because and he was like, did I pass? Am I strong? And you could tell by her reaction that she's like, this dude is freaking powerful. Like, and Yaren even kind of says this later on, is that like Lyndon, as far as Madra is concerned, is a monster. He's just wells of power. He just needs to refine, his skill. But so he tests off the charts, right? And then, but he doesn't really want to show everybody what he's got, and he wants to learn more. So basically, he gets beat down. Like there's this thing where they can just challenge him, and of course he's kind of not allowed, or it looks bad on you if you don't take these challengers on, but they can't kill him, right? So they just beat him up. Uh, so he just keeps getting beat down, beat down, beat down, beat down. And Dross is like calculating all these fights, all these moves, getting to see everybody's moves over time. So, and towards the end of this training thing, uh, Lyndon's like, I want to face all the underlords here, and so he just beats two of them down in a row, and he was like, no, no, no. What I meant was all of them. And he just wipes the floor with them, and, and didn't even have to show off all of his all of his techniques and stuff, which I mean that was pretty sweet. I mean, you're just like you're starting to like we're starting to really ramp up, like Lyndon is might be the most powerful. um but so we're getting over and we're seeing, we're finding out everybody who's in the tournament. So we're down here on the tournament, and one cool thing we find out is that Zeal, the guy with the hammer from Ghostwater, is in the tournament. And you're like, and we know he was like monarch or archlord, or I think he said he might have been archlord or something, or he had the power of an archlord, but his lifeline had been destroyed, and he's you know, but somehow they've given him enough power bump to be, an underlord, so he's entering the tournament. So you're like, oh, okay, well, he's got all this. At least he has all the experience and he knows what to do. So, he could definitely be a formidable foe. Um, but they do these weird, like, not one-on-one competitions at the beginning of the tournament. One of them is like a team building one, and then one is a puzzle, kind of a puzzle, that you kind of have to go through. And Lyndon the whole time is like, all right, I don't want to show off all my moves. I want to kind of make it through with the minimal amount of power. Um, and then and he was doing that until like right in the last little section, and then he had to kind of use some of his tricks to power up, and he ended up like 10th, and I think Yaren was like 11th, but like the top 64 would make it through. um and of course Ethan is like last, 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 close to last, like every time, just enough to sneak in. And you're like, Ethan, we know you're putting on a show. Like, Ethan should be like number one. And because I mean, Ethan showed some really powerful things, but I feel like he's got even more. And he's 35, so he's this old. He's gonna be like the oldest person in the tournament, so he's got more experience than everybody else. Um, and so he should be number one. But of course, Ethan's always got these tricks up his sleeve, so he's just barely sliding in. Um, and then we make it down to the final 16. Of course, you got Mercy, pretty much all the named characters, all of our main characters, plus Zeal, uh, makes it in, and to the Sweet 16, which is the one-on-ones. And of course, the crazy thing at the beginning of this whole thing, it was supposed to be like a group of monarchs. We're supposed to be like impartial people to do the tournament, but of course Northstrider came in, and they thought that Northstrider had passed away or something happened, but he's coming back, and he's basically like, all these super powerful people. Like, when he gets there, he basically shuts the shit down, right? He's like, I will be doing overseeing this tournament, and you know, and so that tells you how powerful he is and what people think about him. But he picks all the battles, and of course he ends up putting Mercy against Yaren, and we're all like, oh man, that sucks. It'll be a cool fight, but that kind of sucks that we have to see them go against each other. And then, like, everyone's kind of pep talking everybody and stuff, and then right before Lyndon's walking in to go do his battle, they open the doors, he walks through, and there's Yaren. And you're like, what? And Northstrider's like, a Underlord should always know that anything could happen, basically, and be prepared to fight anybody. and then like you know, as a reader, it's like it sinks in. You're just like, oh shit, oh no, you know. And Yaren's pissed. Freaking, you know, Lyndon's like, I'm not doing it. I forfeit. She wins. And she was like, no, you're not. We're gonna do this. One of us is gonna go. So then we're like, all right, we've been waiting to see who was the most powerful, who was gonna win. And the worst thing about it is like Lyndon just kind of lets her wail on him, and he's like, I don't want to. Like, it's weird. He's defending himself a little bit, but he's not really going at her. Um, and you know, eventually she was coming down for like the kill blow, and it's like we have this whole conversation in his head, in Lennon's head, and he's like, yeah, she would want me. She would want me to battle this out. This is only the right way. And then he blocks her attack, and then we get the epic battle we've always wanted to see. I mean, Lyndon's firing off all the tricks. I mean, and like, you know, and even the monarchs are like, whoa, these are freaking, you know, these are the next ones, right? And you know, and you know, and we're like, all right, Lyndon's back in it. He's gonna, you know, and you know, this is our main character. He's gonna win. But then Will White does something that he's done a few times where he switches views, and now we're in Yarn's head, and then we see Lyndon, and oh, we're like, oh, okay, Yarn's gonna win, and then it jumps back and forth, and we're just like, what are you doing, Will? Like, who is gonna win this? You know, and so they're all counteracting. They do their last two strikes, and then they're both, you know, exhausted, and they each kind of throw their, you know, it's kind of like this Hail Mary old thing you used to see in anime where it's like, oh, I'm gonna use the last little bit of my energy, and then the other person does too, and it's like they're coming at each other, and you're with Lyndon, and you're like, okay, we're with Lyndon at the end of this. He's gonna win. No, it ends up that Yaren got him, and I'm just like, oh man, you know. But you know, it kind of makes sense because you know Lyndon got a lot of help at Ghostwater, but he's always been like that fight through, build, and so he's just gonna have to do it again. Like, he's not gonna get this big gift given to him. Um, you know, so he's gonna have to. We're gonna figure out how he powers his way through. But again, right after that, you know, the freaking heavens, the people from the heavens come down and are like, you know, we're adding this special arrow that can kill anyone or anything. It's like a guaranteed instant kill. And that includes monarchs, anybody, to the winner of the tournament to make people want to go and win. And they're like, if anyone tries to take this arrow from the winner, we'll destroy you. You know, so that's kind of the protection ish, you would think. But you know, Lyndon's like, no, no, no. We gotta make sure that we don't, none of us win, because that's not an arrow. That's a target on our back. And as he's trying to get to Yaren and Ethan and Mercy, he gets snatched up, and we turn around and we see it's Northstrider. And in Yaren's and Lyndon's battle, when she was going to, you know, death below Lyndon, she yells Dross to kind of wake Lyndon up. And Northstrider had been like thinking about like, what is that? And grabs him, and the last thing you hear, you know, the last thing in the book is like, he's like, who's Dross? And you're like, oh shit. But you know, so I'm ready to roll. This was an extra book this month. It wasn't on the TBR. You know, I finished these books so quickly, and all my TBRs over. I might even roll into a third one at the last couple of days of the month. So I'm just you know, addicted to Cradle, and let me know what you guys think. where does this rank for you in Cradle? Is it one of the top books? Um, Somewhere in the middle, somewhere at the bottom. You know, I'm gonna continue these all the way through the year. Next month, I will be going into writing my fourth book in my series. So the books will definitely be down. I probably will only honestly do 4 books, but Cradle will be one of them. So um, thank you guys. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're commenting and liking the video, and I will see you